have boot camp because it's Wednesday. I always think now that we have in-person boot camp, I keep thinking that this is exercise with exos. Not yet. So today we're going to do a circuit, 3 rounds, 45, 15. We're going to do a little bit of upper body, a little bit of lower body, kind of half and half. I don't have any cardio movements today, but we will be doing a little bit more of that tomorrow. So we're starting off a little bit with more strength kind of based stuff today. So we're going to start off. I'm going to do a quick demo and then we'll get into the circuit. We don't need any equipment, just enough space to be laying all the way down on the ground. So we're going to start off here with Superman's. And so we're going to be all the way on the ground, face down. Need to move my camera a little bit. There we go. So we're going to be all the way outstretched here. We're squeezing our glutes using our back. We're going to hold for 3 seconds and back to the ground. So it's going to help us work on our glute strength, our low back strength, and our upper back strength. So from there, we're going to do Superman's. Then we're going to do some plank to pike. So coming up here, and we can add that toe tap in as well. Exhaling, pushing up, tapping the opposite toe. There. And then after that, we're going to stand all the way up. We're bent over IYTs. So we're going to have our feet hip width apart, pushing our hips back, coming up I, Y, and T, focusing on our shoulder strength and health there. And then we're going to move to the lower body after that. So for the lower body, we're going to start off. We're going to do a lateral to a curtsy lunge. So we do need enough space to step out on each side. But for here, so what we're going to do is we're going to step out into that lateral lunge. So knees coming forward, hips are back. As we push off, we're going to go into our curtsy lunge. So for the curtsy lunge, it's back behind diagonal, hips facing forward, and that way. So we're going to do one leg, and then we'll switch over to the other leg. Out and behind. So that is going to be our 2 main leg movements. And then to finish off here, we're going to end with some glute bridge marches. So working on our core and our glute strength and low back strength. So keeping our core engaged, driving our hips up, 1 knee at a time, making sure our hips are staying hip width as we drive our heel and lift with our core. So that is going to be our whole circuit for today. So let's go ahead. We're going to start off with the world's greatest stretch here. So coming to the top of our space, we're going to interlace our fingers, grab onto one of our knees, pull our knee towards our chest. Nice big deep breath here. And exhale, stepping back, reverse lunge. Hands are coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhale, opening up towards the ceiling, thumb facing behind us. We're getting a nice stretch through our back, opening our spine a little bit more. And we're going to exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Breathing nice and deep into our bellies here. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So interlacing our fingers, grabbing onto our other knee, pulling our knee towards our chest. And we're going to exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands are coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep breath. And exhale, opening up towards our front leg, gazing past our hand, thumb facing behind us. And we're going to exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot, bring our back foot a little bit closer, and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. Breathing into our tight areas. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have plank to pike, warming up our shoulders and our core. all over. And we're gonna go ahead and make our way onto the ground on our hands and toes into our plank position. And exhaling, pushing our hips up. We can go ahead, pedal our heels. Let's go ahead, press our left heel into the ground. Exhale, pressing the other leg, or other heel, sorry. And we're gonna switch again. And switch again. And we can go ahead, plant both our heels if we can, pushing our head in between our arms. And back to plank. Go ahead and do 3 consecutive, coming up and back down. And last one. And then we can go ahead after our last one, bring our knees gently to the ground. And we are ready to rock and roll. So go ahead, get settled. We're starting off lying face down on the ground for Supermans. We're doing 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest / transition time. And we're gonna get the timer going here. 3, 2, 1, and go. So laying face down on the ground. We use our glutes, lifting our upper body off the ground as well, and back down. So really try and use our glutes as much as we can. We're holding for about 3 seconds and coming back down to the ground. This is going to help with our back strength, our glute strength, even a little bit for the shoulders since we are holding a little bit. So exhale as we come up. Trying to make sure we're not using our momentum. 3, 2, 1. All right. Coming up, we have plank to pike next. With that toe tap, if you'd like. Getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. So keeping our butt tucked into our belly button so we can keep our core engaged. Back is nice and flat. When we're coming into our plank position, our hips are not dipping down. So our shoulders, our hips, and our toes are all in one straight line when we come back into our plank. And then working on our single arm shoulder stability as well. If we are doing that toe tap, I'm actually going to go ahead and stick with the plank because my shoulders are a little sore from yesterday's boot camp. All right. Keep pushing. Core is engaged. 3, 2, 1. All right. Standing on up. Bent over. IYTs are next. 3, 2, 1. So feet hip width apart. Core still engaged. Sinking into our hips. Driving up, we want our thumbs up for the I and the Y, thumbs down for the T, making sure we're leading with our elbows. So if you pretend like you have glass laying on your back, I want to break the glass with our elbows. Hands are slightly behind. So this would be if my hands were in line with my shoulders or slightly down. So that way we get that angle of the backs of our shoulders. It's going to really help with our posture. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, lateral lunge to curtsy lunge. So pick whichever side you want to start with. We're stepping out and then back behind diagonal. 3, 2, 1. So stepping out into our side or lateral lunge here. And then as we drive through that whole foot, so heel, big toe, little toe, we're then going back behind diagonal. Hips are facing forward into the next one. So really try and not set your foot down if you can. We really want to feel that we're going to feel mainly in our quad for the lateral lunge and mainly in our front glute for the curtsy lunge, keeping our chest over the arch of our foot on both of them. 3, 2, 1. All right. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. I would say doing all on one leg and all on the other leg, but we're using both legs for both of them. 3, 2, 1. So now we're going to step out with the other leg, pushing back into our curtsy lunge, back behind diagonal, hips are forward. Really feeling that in the front glute. We're feeling it more. We already feel it in our glutes and our quads, but mainly the quads and the lateral lunge. And then keeping our core engaged is going to help with balance. I'm definitely not balanced because I could feel my back was like this. So butt to belly button, just like with every other movement here. Moving as quickly or slowly as you need to. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement coming on up. Making our way to the ground. For our glute bridge marches. Feet staying hip width apart. 3, 2, 1. So tucking our pelvis. Hips up towards the ceiling. Driving one heel. It does force us to use our core a little bit more when we do keep our feet hip width apart. Because if our feet are in the middle, it's more balanced. But when it is out to the side, we're going to have to use our core and our glutes a little bit more, which is definitely the whole goal we have here for this movement. Great job. Goodness, my glutes are sore. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Round 1 done. 2 to go. Flipping over onto our stomachs. Feels like a workout in itself. 3, 2, 1. So we are exhaling, lifting up. Okay, there we go. Squeezing our glutes, using our back, using our legs. We're not using momentum. It's really easy to lead with our head. We want to keep our head in line. So we're using our muscles in our legs, in our back, and our shoulders. Holding for about 3 seconds if we can. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, plank to pike, adding the toe tap if you'd like. 3, 2, 1. Hands and toes. Core is engaged, butt to belly button. Exhale coming up, making sure into our plank. Our hips are not dipping below our shoulders. So our head, shoulders, hips, and well, technically our heels are all in one line. Great job. Pushing. Adding that toe tap in to help with our single arm stability here. So doing what feels good for you. I always preach giving your 100% that you have for today. 3, 2, 1. My 100% yesterday was a little different for in-person boot camp, so a little really sore from that yesterday. So doing our IYTs next. 3, 2, 1. So same thing, butt to belly button, making our eye. Making sure too that as we come up into our eye, our shoulder blades should be pulled down and back. So act like we're squeezing an orange right here. It's going to help with us using our shoulders. So thumbs are back and out, and then leading with our elbows for the T. So we really want to feel this in our shoulders. Moving nice and slow here. Don't know why I faced the camera in that direction. I never do that for these. Great job. Really sinking into our hips too if we're feeling that in our low back. Push your hips back a little bit more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, next up we have our lateral lunge into our curtsy lunge. So starting with whichever side you'd like. Mentally prepare for this one. 3, 2, 1. So we're stepping out and then focus. Stepping out, pushing up into our curtsy lunge. So I'll go from this angle here. So when we step out, just like with our lateral squats or moving lateral lunges, our knee is forward, our hips are back, our chest is staying neutral here. And then same thing, back behind diagonal, hips are forward, knee comes forward. So it's essentially our leg is in the same position, the one that we're using. So when we step out, 3, 2, 1. The position isn't really changing, just the direction of the other foot, we'll say. I don't know if that made sense, but we're gonna go with it. 3, 2, 1. So switching our side, so knees forward, keeping our core engaged, pelvis is still tucked, back behind diagonal, driving through our front foot. So making sure we're finding a good distance. We don't want to be super far back with our curtsy lunge. We run the risk of feeling that in our back leg versus the front leg. So finding a good distance where our weight is still forward. We're not pushing off the back leg. We're pushing off the front leg, feeling that mainly in the front leg glutes. Great job. Keep pushing. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last up, glute bridge marches. And we're going to do one more round. And then we're going to do our cool down. 3, 2, 1. Breathing through our straw. Pelvis is tucked. One knee at a time. Driving through our other foot. Great job. Keep pushing. It does help. We exhale every time we do drive our knee up. It's a great way to strengthen our core, our glutes, and our low back, but also strengthening our pillar. Helps with our low back tension as well. 3, 2, 1. All right. 2 down, 1 to go. We got our Supermans next. So getting ready, lying face down on the ground. 3, 2, 1. So we're here. Exhale, squeezing our glutes again, making sure we're not leading with our head. Holding for about 3 seconds. Getting as high up off the ground as we can without overextending our low back. We want it to be not necessarily, we don't necessarily want it to be comfortable, but I don't want us to feel any pain in our low back. We're definitely going to feel our low back working a little bit, but I don't want it to be painful here. And I also don't want it to carry all of the load. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we got plank to pike. Again, adding that toe tap in if that feels comfortable for you, if that's where you're at today. 3, 2, 1. Here. Keeping our core engaged. Working on our single arm stability if we are doing our toe tap. Great job. Exhaling as we come up helps us use our core a little bit more. Also key here, our hands are directly below our shoulders in our plank. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, bent over IYTs. We're getting ready. 3, 2, 1. So feet are hip width apart here. Coming up, I, Y, and then RT. As always, if we're starting to feel that in our lower back, really sink into our hips a little bit more. Breathing through our straw, making sure too that our butt is tucked, so butt to belly button. If our back is arched and then we come back, we have that arch there. It's going to put that pressure on our low back. So zipping our core up. Breathing through our straw. Use those shoulders, y'all. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with our upper body today. We got our last 3 movements here. Lateral to curtsy lunge, starting with whichever side we'd like. 3, 2, 1. Stepping out. Again, trying to keep our other foot off the ground. So we want to go right in from one into the other. Keeping our core engaged. Exhaling as we push off the ground. Knees coming forward. It would be a lot easier if my shoes were a little bit more flat. Great job. Finish strong here. Last round, best round. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with that side. On to the other side, and then we're on the ground for glute bridge marches. And then we are going to stay on the ground for our cool down. We're going to do some figure 4. So after the marches, 3, 2, 1. We're going to open up our legs and our low back, partially because the leg stuff today was a little bit different than what we normally do, meaning we're doing kind of a double leg thing. No cardio. I mean, I guess our heart rate will still get up during this one, but it's not like burpees or runs or skips or anything like that. So a little bit different again, what I did for us today, but tomorrow will be a little bit more cardio focused. Great job. Keeping our hips facing forward. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement here, glute bridge marches. We're getting ready. 3, 2, 1. Using our core, using our glutes. Really drive into our heel, lifting our knee. Great job. Keep pushing. We're doing awesome. Finishing strong. Great job. 3, 2, 1. That is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. Like I said, we are going to be on our back for some figure 4 as we cool down. So from here, laying on our backs, we're going to take one ankle, crossing it over the opposite knee. And if that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. Or we can go ahead and interlace our fingers, grabbing either in the middle of our hamstring or in front of our shin, pulling our knee towards our chest. Nice, big, deep belly breaths here. Thawing, pull away our tension. want us to really just picture all the stress leaving our bodies as we exhale, making our exhales a little longer than our inhales. Go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can go ahead and bring our feet back to the ground. And when we're ready, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So crossing the opposite ankle over our knee. If that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. Or we can go ahead and interlace our fingers either in the middle of our hamstring or in front of our shin, pulling our knee towards our chest. And sighing away our tension, letting the stress leave our head, neck, and shoulders, leave our low back, breathing into the tension we feel in our hips, or wherever we feel the tension in the stress or in the stretch. Go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish that last exhale, we can gently bring our feet back to the ground. And feel free to stay laying on your back, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. But that is going to be all the time I have for us today. So thank y'all so much for joining me. I always love having y'all in class. I hope y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully.